Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and today we're hitting you with the first ever live mock draft that I have for the Bengals. That's right. I'm going to finally do a mock draft for the Bengals. I'm going to probably do 3 rounds. We're going to do this live, so that way it's not pre-recorded. It's not something you guys can see how I respond in real time. So give me 1 second. We're going to get things going here. And it is line day. If you are hearing that, it is landscaping day here at New Stripe City. We're getting ready to cut these draft picks out. But for those who are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. We truly appreciate that. It helps grow the channel. And we also have jersey links for the New Stripes jersey. So if you are interested in supporting the channel and you do want to get a new Bengals jersey, which we released 3 different ones, please be sure to hit the description. There's a link in there for that. And also please subscribe. We truly appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I want you guys to see what I'm looking at here. And so I'm going to do a 3-round mock. We got the speed. We'll probably slow it down a little bit. Care for positional value. We're using PFF, so please be sure to credit them with this if you do want to check it out. It's their NFL mock draft simulator. So I'm going to put the positional value a little bit up. Randomness, I kind of have right here, like at the middle tier, because I don't think that there will be any crazy stuff, but it is slightly more than it usually is. Draft for needs is a little bit up more. And then I went with the public versus the PFF. I just went to the halfway point because I don't think that the public knows more than, NFL GMs and stuff would. So that's what I did with that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it here. Let me just move this down. So you guys probably know where I'm going in the first round. And so what I'm going to do is 2 different things. I'm going to do one version where I think what the Bengals would do. And then for those who want to see what I would do, then I'll do a second one. But the first one that I'm going to do is what the Bengals I feel like would likely do. So with that said, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's see what we got. Let's start the draft. All right. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Jamar Chase. That just threw a big wrench in everything. So the Falcons went with Jamar Chase. And because of that, I'm going to run this one through. I guess we must have to turn down the randomness. If this happens, I think that they go Penei Sewell. So we'll actually call this what I would do, because I think now that we're into this situation, that's what's going on. So we got Trey Lance off the board, Rashawn Slater, Kyle Pitts goes to the Giants. All right. Farley, Waddle. All right, Darrisaw. Terrence Marshall is off the board. Vera Tucker, Rashad Bateman, Rondell Moore, Kadarius Toney. So we got some wide receivers going. Asante Samuel. We're into the second round. Elijah Moore, Jalen Phillips, Travis Etienne, Eichenberg, and Kyle Trask. So now I'm faced with this kind of situation where the top players on the board right now are a couple tackles. So I got Walker Little, who I'm somewhat worried about because he hasn't really played. If I'm not mistaken, I think he missed some time. And then obviously we had everything that happened. So he didn't play in 2020. He ended up having some decent production in 2018, but 2019 was kind of average. So for me, Walker Little, I'm not too high on him personally. Some of the other options, Tevin Jenkins, I do like this. I actually did this yesterday. You see that consistent production that he's had. He could potentially play guard. I mean, Penei's probably going to play guard. You got Cosme here. You got Leatherwood. So there's a number of different ways that you could go. You could also go with Basham, the defensive end out of Wake Forest. And so looking at this, I also got Diami Brown. I'm going to take a look at the receivers. We saw a little bit of a run on our receivers here. So just to see the receivers that are on the board, you got Diami Brown, you got Josh Palmer, you got St. Brown, Dax Milne, Nico Collins is still there. So I would probably say receiver. They may look at like a Diami Brown. I'm not going to say that I would pick Diami Brown, but I guess since this is what I would do in this situation, if I'm looking at all of these, I see a lot of tackles still left on the board. Walker Little looks like they had apparently it seems like they have him as a first-round talent or a top 50 guy. They have a couple of other linemen here. You got Leatherwood still down here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to flip the script because I already went ahead and got Panay, and I still see that there's a surplus of offensive guys left. I'm actually going to go Boogie Basham here. I'm going to get both sides of the trenches right. I could think about Diami Brown there, but we'll see what happens. I'm betting on seeing what some of these later receivers could do for me in the next round. So we'll see what happens. And as you can see, some of those linemen start flying off the board. Wyatt Davis, Peyton Turner, who is a guy I'm also high on in terms of the edges in this class. I'm not really a huge fan of the edges, and that's why I had to grab Boogie Basham before any of those other guys. So I'm waiting to see what's going to be here at 3. It looks like Leatherwood just went before that. So I'm just going to recap real quick. I think Leatherwood went here. Like idealistically, I probably would have traded back up here to grab Leatherwood. I have a trade offer in here. It looks like the Cowboys. I'm not sure what they're offering, but let's take a look here. So now we're getting into the linebackers. We got some safeties. We still got some receivers. We got Josh Palmer that's still there. So this is probably the area where I want to at least look at receiver. And so you got Josh Palmer, right? He's a guy that ran a mostly vertical tree in Tennessee's offense, and he rarely was targeted because of that. But he has an 81 win rate and was the highest, and that was apparently one of the highest out of any of the receivers at the Senior Bowl and one-on-ones. You still got Dart in here, who I like as well. I also like someone else as well, but I don't want to ruin it now. So for me, round 3, let's take a look at what we have all on the board real quick. Linebacker, corner. Also, defensive interior is somewhat – I like Milton Williams too. I think that he's a good person to target at this point. We just went and got the first part of the defensive line right. And then let me see what we're talking about with our offensive line. So interior, we still got Trey Smith. We still got Deontay Brown, who I really like. So still got some options there. We got Ben Cleveland as well. And let me see. In terms of tackle, we still got James Hudson there. We still got Jalen Mayfield. So, like, we still got some options there. And then I just want to see what's at center. Well, I guess it would be an interior offensive line. So, for me, if I were looking at this, guys that just stick out to me, and I'm wondering if I can get them later still, Deontay Brown, I would love to have. Trey Smith, super athletic, another guy that he struggled with some injuries. So that's one of the things and I think Duke Tobin just said it today, you're hoping that you have some guys there that can actually stay healthy. So let me take a look back at, I think I kind of know where I want to go now, but I just really want to make the best decision here. And it's really between the wide receiver and Milton Williams. And knowing that this draft really struggles in the defensive interior, I'm kind of wondering what I want to do here. So for me, I'm probably, because the receivers that I'm seeing right now, there's not much of a gap between the guys that are there, right? I really like Darden because he's a guy that can take the top off of any defense. And then I also like Nico Collins from Michigan. Those were some guys that I saw. And I've got a couple other guys that I like as well that are lower on the board. You still got Tusu out there. You still have, it looks like my boy Coxie must be gone. Did they take Coxie? No, Coxie's still there. All right, so it's really coming down to Milton Williams or one of these receivers or one of the guards, right? So I'm looking at Milton Williams. I'm probably looking at Brown. from the guard position, and I'm looking at Jalen Darden or Josh Palmer. I like Darden better. I think what he brings to our offense is exactly what we need. As you can see, he's electric with the ball in his hands and is a threat to house it from anywhere. But Milton Williams, and this is why I'm hesitating, and I'm not trying to be like defense. I'm not a defensive guy like that. I still believe in defense. I think that you have to have it. But this guy had a 4.67 with his 40-yard dash. That's just something that you can't really pass on. And so for me, I'm going to make this pick, and then I think this is where I trade up and I go after my receivers. So I'm going to draft him right there. All right. And then that's when I'm going to pause. And one of the receivers came off of the board right after that, right? And so for me, I don't want to trade with the Broncos. I don't think that I need to move up that many spots. But I do want to move back into this round. So this is round 3. I think I would want to move. Let's see. So Detroit needs a receiver. Carolina needs a receiver. Washington needs a receiver. This is probably where I try to move one of those later picks to come up. And so for me here, so the Eagles took I'm just going to do a recap real quick just to see if the Lions already took a receiver. No, they took a corner. And they took a receiver already. So the Lions probably aren't going to take a receiver. The Panthers have a receiver need. So let's see what they have. That's just crazy because I did not expect Chase to be taken at all early on. All right. So they took a tackle in the second round. And then what did they take in the first round? They took Mac Jones. So the Panthers are probably a team that I had to watch out for. I'm going to see. We'll see what's up with Detroit. So let's resume the draft. We don't know if Detroit will take one or not. Okay, so this is where I'm trying to come up from. They got a pick with LA, so they might be cool with moving back. So this is where I'm going to probably say, let me give you my 4th round pick. And I'm probably going to say definitely get rid of one of these older ones. So we got the comp pick from Miami. I'll give you that pick back. And they're probably not going to take that, but that's where I'm going to start with. Let's see. Right. So that's what I figured. It's like, nah, we're not taking that. So then I probably throw in a round 5 from the next year. Let's see if they take that. All right, cool. They took it. Bet. So Amon-Ra just went off the board. I'm seeing that these receivers are going, and this is when I come back in and I'm going to grab my receiver. And it's still tough for me because I don't really like Josh Palmer. I'm going to go with Jalen Darden. Because that's who I want. So then that's going to give me Darden. We got our receiver that's shifty, but I'm not done at the receiver position. I think we need more than one receiver. I think we need multiple picks at the receiver position. But I might lose out on my guard because of this as well. So we'll see what those guards are looking like in the next round. But I think it's well worth it to come up and get Darden because he's an electric receiver in this offense. And I still want to double dip. So Deontay Brown just went to the Patriots. I kind of expected that. But that's why we're good in terms of the trenches. Like, I had to get Milton Williams because of that. And so this is what I ended up with. I ended up going Penei Sewell. I went heavy in the trenches in the first round. I got Boogie Basham in the second round, Milton Williams in the third round, and then I traded back into the third round to get Jalen Darden, who is my receiver. If this were to continue, I really would want to get Nico Collins in the next round. That was like, I want to double dip at receiver back to back. If I do wait at the receiver position, I might even take 3 receivers. So that was the first one. I'm just going to go back in here and check in the comments and see what y'all talking about. I don't know why they picked him. I do like Milton Williams. You guys did like Milton Williams as well. Kay Johnson, I thought about. Nico Collins is who I wanted. I didn't say it during the draft, but it wasn't between Josh Palmer And Darden, to me, it was actually between Darden and Nico Collins. I wanted to get Nico Collins. You could swap that pick out for Nico Collins if you wanted to. I wanted to get Darden and Nico Collins because I saw Nico was a little lower ranked. And so I wanted to get Darden and Nico Collins because I love what they both bring. And they're both two different receivers. Like Darden is more of an electric, smaller guy. Nico Collins is still a guy that's, I believe, 6'4", 6'3", runs a 4.4. I love Nico Collins. He's one of the guys, when I talk to Zim and stuff offline, when I talk about the rest of the receivers, I'm like, you can get Nico Collins in the 3rd or 4th round. That's a guy that I really like. I think he has some pretty good potential there. And so let's do a new mock. That was originally supposed to be what the Bengals would do. That ended up being what I would do, apparently, because we need to check these settings. So let's go here. I mean, it's not impossible that the Falcons couldn't do that, but man, that was a bit strange. That was a bit strange. So care for positional value. I always feel like positional value is always high. I thought that the positional value thing would be the way that would work would be that essentially they would pass on an offensive lineman or something like that just because there's so many. Yeah, let's run this and let's hope that Jamar Chase is still there. So let's go ahead and enter. Let's get it started. No crazy stuff. All right, this is already weird. This is already weird because we just saw Zach Wilson go 1st overall. That's just not happening. That's just not happening. But for the sake of this, let's just act like these two are flipped. Everything else seems okay with me. You got Kyle Pitts there. So in this instance, I think the Bengals will pick Jamar Chase. I said this from 3 months ago. If Joe Burrow wants Jamar Chase, I think that the Bengals are going to give him Jamar Chase. So with that said, we're going to get Chase here at 5. All right, Penesul goes next. Waddle, Lance, Devonta goes to the Broncos. Michael Parsons, Mac Jones goes to the Eagles. That's interesting. So we're going to let this run, and then it'll go into our next pick, and we'll see what the board is looking like there. I think if this is the Bengals, I think that they're probably targeting a lineman. You're almost forced to have to target a lineman here in the 2nd round. Or they could look at edge. They could potentially look at edge if they feel like the guys here that are available are well worth the pick. So when we do that, it brings us a board of Elijah Moore. You got Walker Little, Tevin Jenkins, Dylan. You also have Nick Bolton, who I actually like. I did a cut the tape on him, so please be sure to check it out. Ronnie Perkins, you got Landon Dickerson, Diami Brown, Diami, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. You got Eichenberg down there. And so it looks like Leatherwood is gone. Yeah, see, like this is kind of the range I see Leatherwood going. Is like anywhere from, 20, 21 even, all the way up until that range. I don't feel like he's going to be there. That's who I really wanted. But he's not there, so I think that they probably look at a Tevin Jenkins or someone like that to help this offensive line out. I'm just going to take a look at the edge just to see what's there because I do think that it is a real possibility. If they feel like this thing is that deep, I think that there is a potential chance that they do look at a Ronnie Perkins or a Peyton Turner or someone like that. I'm not speaking off of prime or anything. I'm just speaking off of just the history that they've had. And I think back to 2016, and I said this on AFC North Talk yesterday. 2016 was a year that was loaded with defensive interior linemen. And because of that, because it was like that, the Bengals kept passing on it, even though it was a need to pair someone with Geno Atkins. And they waited, and they didn't hit it until the 4th round with Andrew Billings, who really, at that point, prior to the draft, was projected to go in the 1st round. They ended up getting him in the 4th. So I think that they could potentially do something like that. But just because of where we're at, I think that they go with possibly a Tevin Jenkins because this guy has to be angry. He's got to do what he needs to do. And so I think that they go with Tevin Jenkins here. So we're going to hit Jenkins with that one, and we're going to see what's available in the 3rd round. So Travis Etienne to the Chargers. That's interesting. I don't know. These settings seemed like we were supposed to make them a little bit more realistic, but they seem to be all over the place. And so just so you guys can see, I'm going to let this one go. Okay, so just taking a look at what happened through here. Creed Humphrey's gone. Let's see. Javonte Williams went to the Cardinals. Nick Bolton, the linebacker. I think linebacker is still an underrated need. Najee Harris goes to the Niners. Eichenberg goes to the Giants. Walker Little goes to the Panthers. So Wyatt Davis was probably the guy that I really wanted there in the second round. Boogie Basham, another guy I would have probably considered, and I think they would probably think about it in the second round if you're looking at those two guys or some kind of combination of that. Cosme ended up going first in round 2. Vera Tucker went there. Terrence Marshall went at the end. So very interesting. Looks like Gregory Rousseau. Quincy won't like that. Gregory Rousseau went to the Browns there. Rashad Bateman. All right, cool. All right. So now we've taken that lineman that we need in the second round. We've taken Chase in the first round. There's no reason to look at Diami Brown anymore. They're set at safety. I mean, Rashad Weaver, I don't really like any of the edges in this class, really, honestly, like that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that came back from a torn ACL, but he was one of the most productive edge rushers to come back in. So I don't want to hit show draft guy because I don't want to show any of PFF stuff. Milton Williams, again, is just sitting there. I think Milton Williams is probably the pick in the third round. They really like to pick those guys in the third and fourth round in terms of that defense. And so with them going with 2 offensive picks, I think Milton Williams, even though they don't really draft out of Louisiana Tech like that, like maybe if it's not Milton Williams, maybe it's another defensive interior guy, but I think that that's where they go in the third round. And I think that probably brings my mock to a close. And so what do you guys think of that draft? Which one would you prefer? It's almost kind of unfair because I kind of gave myself an extra pick. That's what I would do. I think the Bengals would literally, though, stay kind of put in and pick guys from that area. And that's generally what they do is, right, they kind of stand put. There are some times where they will trade up and move up to grab guys. But for me, I think that's where they end off at. So I'm just going to let this round go ahead and finish out. And so we got Jamar Chase, we got Tevin Jenkins, and we got Milton Williams. I think if they come through with those 3 guys, I think that will be good for them. It looks like it gave it an A. So this has been the first mock draft. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. And sorry I wasn't looking at the chat because I was running it on the other screen. But that's what I'm here for. He said, Diddy, you say you always turn off the randomness. I'm with you. Yeah, because that was crazy. Deontay Brown, Killer the Great, says Deontay Brown is so underrated. I agree. They said that they give me an A so far. I think that must have been for the last one. But yeah, we'll have to see. But thank you guys for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be doing more mock drafts soon. And as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.
Here comes the quarterback, Burrow, looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone, wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the 1, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.